Welcome to Unwrap Reality, where we narrate stories on things that happen in real life. What would you do if you discovered your greatest enemy was closer than you thought? For Alex Carter, the CEO of Innovatech, this question wasn't just hypothetical, it became a chilling reality. Known as one of the most innovative minds in the tech industry, Alex had built his company from the ground up. His sleek gadgets and cutting-edge software were household names, and his leadership style was often described as visionary. Yet, despite his success, something gnawed at him. Rumors of leaks, failed projects, and even sabotage had started to surface, threatening not only his company's reputation, but also its future. At first, Alex dismissed the whispers as typical corporate gossip, nothing more than idle chatter among competitors or disgruntled employees. But the nagging feeling persisted. He couldn't shake the sense that someone within his own ranks might be working against him. Determined to get to the bottom of it, Alex decided to take matters into his own hands. Instead of relying on internal investigations or third-party audits, he chose a far riskier approach: going undercover. Disguised in a hoodie, jeans, and glasses, Alex stepped into his own company, not as the powerful CEO, but as an unassuming IT intern named Ryan. His mission was simple, yet daunting: uncover the truth without revealing his identity. As he navigated the bustling hallways of Innovatech, blending in with employees who had no idea who he really was, Alex quickly realized that the answers he sought weren't going to come easily. Conversations buzzed around him, some casual, others tense, but none immediately pointed to the source of the trouble. That is, until two young interns huddled nearby dropped a name that sent chills down his spine. One he hadn't heard in years. Something told him this was only the beginning. Going undercover. Alex had always prided himself on being a hands-on leader, but this time the stakes felt higher than ever. With rumors of sabotage and leaks threatening Innovatech's future, he knew drastic measures were necessary. After weighing his options, Alex made a bold decision. He would go undercover as an IT intern named Ryan. It wasn't the first time he'd taken such a step, disguising himself to observe employees or test company dynamics. But this time felt different. The weight of what he might uncover loomed over him, yet he was determined to get answers without tipping anyone off. To pull it off, Alex transformed his appearance completely. He donned a pair of thick-rimmed glasses, swapped his tailored suits for a hoodie and jeans, and even practiced slouching to appear less authoritative. His goal was simple: blend in, stay unnoticed, and uncover the truth. As he walked through the doors of Innovatech's headquarters on Monday morning, he felt a strange mix of excitement and unease. No one gave him a second glance. He was just another face in the crowd, another name on the roster. His first task was to embed himself in the day-to-day operations of the company. Assigned to the IT department, Alex found himself surrounded by young interns and junior staff who were eager to prove themselves. He listened intently to their conversations, picking up fragments of gossip and speculation. Some talked about missed deadlines, others about suspicious emails that had surfaced recently. But nothing concrete emerged, yet. Alex reminded himself to be patient. The truth rarely revealed itself immediately. It required time, observation, and persistence. By the end of his first day, Alex felt both drained and invigorated. He hadn't uncovered any smoking guns, but he had planted the seeds of trust with his coworkers. They saw him as approachable, someone who didn't ask too many questions, but was willing to help when needed. Little did they know, their new intern was far more invested in their stories than they realized. For Alex, this wasn't just about solving a mystery. It was about understanding the pulse of the company he had built and ensuring its survival. The first clue. On his first day undercover, Alex found himself in the break room, nursing a cup of coffee while trying to blend into the background. The room buzzed with casual chatter, employees discussing weekend plans, sharing memes, and debating the latest tech trends. But then, a hushed conversation from the corner caught his attention. Two employees, partially hidden behind a vending machine, were whispering urgently. Their tone was different from the rest of the room, tense, almost paranoid. Alex strained to listen without being obvious, his curiosity piqued. "Did you hear? They think it's someone in R&D, one of them muttered, glancing around to ensure no one was listening. The other nodded grimly. Yeah, feeding secrets straight to Technova. It's bad, man. If they find out who it is. His voice trailed off, but the implication hung heavy in the air. Alex's heart raced. This was exactly the kind of information he had been hoping to uncover. Then, one of them dropped a name that sent a jolt through him. Ethan. The name echoed in Alex's mind, stirring something deep in his memory. Ethan. Why did it sound so familiar? He racked his brain trying to place it. Was it someone from Innovatech's past? A former employee? A name he'd seen on an email or report? Whatever the connection, it felt significant. Alex's curiosity spiked. Who was Ethan, and what role did he play in this web of betrayal? As the two employees finished their conversation and left the break room, Alex stayed rooted in his seat, lost in thought. He knew he couldn't jump to conclusions, but the mention of Ethan felt like the first real lead he'd gotten. It was clear that whoever Ethan was, he, or someone connected to him, was at the center of the sabotage rumors threatening Innovatech. Alex realized that finding answers would mean digging deeper, even if it meant confronting uncomfortable truths about his company, and possibly himself. A name from the past. Back at his office, Alex wasted no time diving into the mystery of Ethan. The name had stirred something in him, but try as he might, he couldn't place it. He started with a simple online search, pulling up old employee records and news articles about Innovatech's early days. It didn't take long for a clearer picture to emerge. Ethan had once been a rising star at the company, a brilliant engineer whose innovative ideas had caught the attention of everyone, including Alex himself. But then, just as suddenly as he had risen, Ethan had vanished. His departure was shrouded in mystery, with no official explanation given at the time. As Alex scrolled through archived news articles, fragments of the past began to surface. One headline in particular caught his eye. Promising engineer leaves Innovatech amid controversy. The article hinted at a falling out between Ethan and the company's leadership, specifically mentioning Alex by name. According to the piece, Ethan had accused Alex of stealing his designs and passing them off as his own. At the time, Alex had dismissed the accusations as baseless rumors, assuming they would fade away. But now, reading the words years later, he felt a pang of unease. Why couldn't he remember any of this? Had he buried the memory, or had he truly believed the allegations were unfounded? Determined to uncover the truth, Alex dug even deeper. He scoured LinkedIn profiles, industry forums, and recent press releases. That's when he found it, a connection that sent a chill down his spine. Ethan wasn't just working for another company, he was now a senior executive at Technova, Innovatech's biggest competitor. The timing of his departure and subsequent rise at Technova seemed too convenient to be a coincidence. Alex's mind raced. Was Ethan behind the sabotage rumors? Or was there more to the story than met the eye? The more Alex uncovered, the more conflicted he felt. If Ethan truly believed Alex had wronged him all those years ago, it was no wonder he'd want revenge. But was Ethan capable of orchestrating such a calculated attack on Innovatech? And if so, what did he hope to achieve? Alex realized that finding answers wouldn't be as simple as confronting Ethan directly. This was a tangled web of history, betrayal, and ambition, one that Alex himself was deeply entangled in. Whatever the truth was, it was clear that Ethan held the key. Confrontation. While troubleshooting a server issue in the IT department, Alex found himself face-to-face with someone who immediately set off alarm bells. The man stood near a workstation, his arms crossed, and his expression unreadable. There was an air of hostility about him that made Alex pause mid-step. At first glance, he seemed like just another employee, but something about the way he carried himself, his sharp gaze and tense posture, felt oddly familiar. Alex tried to brush it off, focusing on the task at hand, but he couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter was no coincidence. As Alex approached to ask for assistance with the server, the man turned to face him directly. "You're new here, aren't you?" he said, his tone clipped and cold. Before Alex could respond, the man extended his hand, though reluctantly. "Ethan." He introduced himself, his eyes narrowing slightly as if gauging Alex's reaction. The name sent a jolt through Alex. He had suspected Ethan might be involved in the sabotage rumors, but hearing it confirmed so suddenly caught him off guard. He forced a polite smile, and shook the man's hand, careful not to reveal his unease. Their interaction quickly grew tense. Ethan didn't bother hiding his suspicion, studying Alex with an intensity that felt almost personal. "So, what brings you to Innovatech?" Ethan asked, his voice laced with thinly veiled skepticism. Alex hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "Just looking for a fresh start," he replied, keeping his tone casual. But Ethan wasn't satisfied. He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a near whisper. "Fresh start, huh? Or are you here to clean up your mess?" The cryptic remark hit Alex like a punch to the gut, leaving him momentarily speechless. Ethan didn't elaborate further, instead turning back to his workstation as if dismissing Alex entirely. But his parting words lingered in the air, heavy with implication. "Some things can't stay buried forever," Ethan muttered under his breath before walking away. Alex stood frozen, his mind racing. What did Ethan know? And how much of it tied back to the accusations Angela had made years ago? One thing was clear. This wasn't going to be a simple investigation. Whatever unfinished business existed between them, Ethan clearly intended to make sure it came to light. The truth comes out. Through fragmented memories, Alex began to recall a heated argument from years ago, an argument he had long buried deep in his mind. It was Ethan, standing in his office, his face flushed with anger and frustration. "You stole my idea," Ethan had shouted, slamming a folder onto Alex's desk. Inside were sketches and notes for a groundbreaking product concept that would later become Innovatech's flagship innovation. At the time, Alex had been dismissive, brushing off Ethan's accusations as the rantings of an overambitious employee who didn't understand the collaborative nature of their work. He assured Ethan that the idea had been developed by the team, not by him alone. But now, those words echoed back to him with unsettling clarity. Back then, Alex truly believed Ethan's claims were baseless. The product in question had gone through months of brainstorming sessions, revisions, and testing, processes that involved multiple departments and dozens of employees. How could Ethan think it was solely his creation? Alex had assumed Ethan was simply upset about not receiving enough recognition or credit. To ease tensions, Alex offered him a promotion, hoping it would smooth things over. But instead of accepting, Ethan resigned the next day, leaving behind only silence and unanswered questions. Now, years later, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that maybe Ethan had been right all along. Had he unintentionally taken credit for someone else's work? He thought back to the chaotic early days of Innovatech, when decisions were made quickly, often without proper documentation or acknowledgement of individual contributions. Could Ethan's ideas have been absorbed into the collective effort without proper attribution? The more Alex considered it, the more plausible it seemed. Perhaps Ethan hadn't just walked away out of pride, he'd left because he felt betrayed. The weight of this realization settled heavily on Alex's shoulders. If Ethan's accusations held even a grain of truth, then Alex wasn't just dealing with corporate sabotage. He was confronting the possibility that his own actions or inactions had set this chain of events into motion. Was it possible that Ethan's bitterness had festered over the years, driving him to seek revenge against Innovatech? Or worse, had Alex's failure to address the situation properly created a ripple effect that had hurt far more people than just Ethan? The answers weren't clear yet, but one thing was certain. Alex needed to dig deeper if he wanted to uncover the full truth. Sabotage confirmed. As Alex dug deeper into Ethan's activities, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, but what they revealed was far more sinister than he had anticipated. Late one night, while combing through encrypted files and flagged emails, Alex stumbled upon undeniable proof. Ethan had been orchestrating a series of calculated attacks on Innovatech. Leaked blueprints, stolen algorithms, and confidential project plans were all traced back to him. Each piece of data had found its way into the hands of Technova, Innovatech's fiercest competitor. The sabotage wasn't random. It was methodical, designed to cripple Innovatech from within. Alex felt a chill run down his spine as he realized how close Ethan had come to succeeding. But the revelations didn't stop there. Buried in the evidence was something even more alarming. A trail of communication between Ethan and someone inside Innovatech. It wasn't just Ethan working alone. He had an accomplice feeding him information from the inside. This person knew the company's inner workings, its weaknesses, and its secrets. Whoever it was had access to sensitive data and was using it to dismantle the very foundation Alex had built over decades. The betrayal cut deep, but what unsettled Alex most was the identity of the insider. The clues pointed to someone high-ranking, someone who had been with the company for years, someone Alex trusted completely. Alex's mind raced as he tried to make sense of it all. He thought about the people closest to him, his senior executives, department heads, even members of his own leadership team. Could one of them really be capable of such deception? He replayed conversations in his head, searching for signs he might have missed, offhand comments, unusual behavior, anything that could hint at their involvement. But nothing stood out. Whoever this traitor was, they were careful, covering their tracks meticulously. Alex couldn't help but feel a pang of guilt. Had his focus on growth and innovation blinded him to the cracks forming within his own ranks? The weight of the discovery pressed heavily on Alex's shoulders. Not only was Innovatech under attack, but the breach came from within, a betrayal that struck at the heart of everything he had worked for. Yet, amid the chaos, a new resolve began to take shape. If Ethan thought he could bring down Innovatech without consequences, he was wrong. And if someone inside the company believed they could hide behind anonymity, they were mistaken too. Alex knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to expose the truth, no matter where it led or who it implicated. Redemption. Determined to set things right, Alex decided to confront Ethan privately. He arranged a meeting under the guise of discussing a potential partnership between Innovatech and Technova, knowing it would pique Ethan's interest. When they met in a quiet corner of a local cafe, Alex cut straight to the point. "Ethan, I know what happened between us years ago wasn't fair," he began, his tone earnest. "I can't undo the past, but I want to make it right. Come back to Innovatech. Clear your name and take the credit you deserve." Ethan stared at him, his expression unreadable for a moment before it hardened into skepticism. "You think this is some kind of joke?" Ethan shot back, his voice laced with bitterness. "You're offering me a chance to come crawling back to the company that ruined my career? Do you really expect me to believe you've changed?" Alex flinched at the accusation, but pressed on. "I'm not asking you to trust me blindly," he said firmly. "But if there's even a small part of you that wants justice, take this opportunity. Prove to everyone, including yourself, that your work mattered." Ethan shook his head, his jaw tight. "It's too late for that, Alex. People like you don't change. You're just trying to save face." Despite Ethan's refusal, Alex couldn't let the matter rest. He knew that simply offering Ethan a position wouldn't be enough. The damage ran deeper than that. Desperate to make amends, Alex made a bold decision. During the next company-wide meeting, he deviated from the planned agenda and addressed the room with an unscripted speech. "Many of you may not know this," he began, his voice steady but tinged with emotion, "but much of what Innovatech has achieved over the years wasn't solely my doing. One person who contributed significantly was Ethan Carter." The room fell silent as Alex recounted Ethan's innovations and the role they had played in the company's success. The weight of the moment hung heavy in the air. By publicly acknowledging Ethan's contributions, Alex was risking more than just his reputation. He was exposing his own failures as a leader. But he also knew it was the right thing to do. As he concluded his speech, he looked directly at Ethan, who had been invited to attend the meeting. "Ethan, I failed you. I failed to give you the recognition you deserve, and for that, I am truly sorry." The room remained quiet, the gravity of Alex's words sinking in. Whether Ethan would accept the apology or not, Alex had taken the first step toward redemption, and he hoped it would inspire others to do the same. Healing old wounds. After days of tension and uncertainty, Ethan finally agreed to meet Alex outside of work. The two arranged to talk at a quiet cafe far from the prying eyes of their colleagues. When Alex arrived, Ethan was already seated, his arms crossed and his expression guarded. For a moment, neither of them spoke, the weight of years of resentment hanging heavy in the air. Alex broke the silence first, his tone calm but sincere. Ethan, I know I can't undo the past, but I want to understand. Help me see things from your perspective. Ethan hesitated, his defenses slowly softening as he realized Alex wasn't there to argue, but to listen. As they talked, Ethan opened up about the bitterness that had consumed him after leaving Innovatech. He admitted that his actions, feeding secrets to Technova and orchestrating the sabotage, weren't just driven by greed or revenge. They were fueled by a deep sense of betrayal and frustration, feelings he had buried for years. I felt like everything I worked for was taken from me, Ethan confessed, his voice tinged with emotion. But looking back, I see how much I let that anger control me. Alex nodded, understanding the pain Ethan had carried. It wasn't an excuse, but it was a start toward healing the rift between them. The conversation shifted as Alex proposed an idea. Ethan, what if we worked together to expose the real mastermind behind this? He suggested, his tone measured but firm. Ethan raised an eyebrow, skeptical but intrigued. Alex explained his theory, that someone higher up at Innovatech had been manipulating both of them, using Ethan's bitterness to destabilize the company from within. As the pieces fell into place, Ethan's skepticism gave way to determination. If you're serious about this, then count me in, he said, his voice steady. Together, they began devising a plan to uncover the truth. By the end of their meeting, something had shifted between them. The animosity that had once defined their relationship was replaced by a fragile but growing sense of trust. They weren't friends, not yet, but they were united by a shared goal, to hold the real culprit accountable. As they parted ways, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose. Exposing the saboteur wouldn't just save Innovatech, it would also be a chance to rebuild what had been broken, both within the company and between the two of them. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. But for the first time in years, Alex felt hopeful. As the dust settled and the truth came to light, Alex found himself reflecting deeply on everything that had transpired. The sabotage, the betrayal, the years of bitterness, it all stemmed from misunderstandings and unchecked ambition. He realized that leadership wasn't about standing at the top with accolades or claiming every success as his own. True leadership was about fostering trust, recognizing contributions, and creating an environment where collaboration could thrive. For too long, he had been so focused on building his empire that he had neglected the people who made it possible. That realization weighed heavily on him, but it also gave him clarity, moving forward. Sitting in his office late one evening, Alex stared out at the city skyline, now illuminated by the soft glow of streetlights. He thought about Ethan, Angela, and even the employees who had unknowingly been caught in the crossfire of their rivalry. How many lives had been affected by his actions, or inactions, over the years? It was a sobering thought, one that reminded him of the ripple effects of even the smallest decisions. Success, he now understood, wasn't measured by profits or headlines, but by the relationships and trust he nurtured along the way. The experience had changed him in ways he hadn't anticipated. It forced him to confront uncomfortable truths about himself and reevaluate what truly mattered. As he looked ahead, Alex vowed to lead differently, not just for himself, but for everyone who placed their trust in him. He knew the road to rebuilding wouldn't be easy, but he was ready to take it one step at a time. By acknowledging past mistakes and actively working to prevent new ones, he hoped to set a better example, one that prioritized accountability over ego and unity over division. Alex's story left viewers with a lingering question. How many rivalries are born from misunderstandings, and how can we prevent them? It was a reminder that behind every conflict, there were untold stories, unspoken grievances, and missed opportunities for reconciliation. By fostering open communication, empathy, and transparency, perhaps some of these rivalries could be avoided altogether. As the screen faded to black, Alex's journey served as both a cautionary tale and a hopeful blueprint for change, urging viewers to reflect on their own lives and relationships.